So there's really no getting around it, my friends. This week has been an absolutely massive week for Battlefield 6 in more ways than one. Obviously, on the content front, we've had the mid-season update for the game, which dropped eastward, battle pickups, and of course some new weapons for us to use. Oh, and of course we can't forget about the all-important golf buggies. But outside of just the game itself as well, there's been some really interesting tidbits of information hitting the media about just how well the game has done in the market so far, and also what is planned for the game going forward, including around the commencement of a brand new tournament league for Battlefield 6. Which leads me on, guys, to probably one of the biggest announcements I think I will ever make in my journey, if you will, as a content creator. Guys, it brings me great pleasure to announce that I am a team captain for the inaugural Asia Pacific Battlefield RedSec Elite Series tournament, officially backed by EA, a 350,000 USD tournament, which is going to be featuring some of the biggest names in both Asia Pacific Battlefield and the broader FPS scene, clashing it out in RedSec's Battle Royale mode and Gauntlet mode. And yeah, your boy here, he got asked to be a team captain about a month ago now. I've been keeping this under wraps for the entire time, and I cannot tell you guys how difficult it was for me to not yap about this the whole time, because I've been so bloody excited for this event. Not just for the tournament itself, but the very notion that DICE and EA are throwing quite possibly the largest showing of support into the Battlefield competitive scene that we've ever seen in the franchise's history sets a really strong precedent that I also kind of think is worth discussing here as well. We're going to tap into that a bit more later in the video, but if you guys are keen to support me and my team, who I will be announcing very shortly as well, we'll be streaming all of our perspectives over on Twitch and YouTube on the game days, which are going to be on screen now for your visibility. So yeah, mark the dates down in your calendar. I hope to see you all there. This is going to be quite the show given the caliber of talent that we're going to be facing off against. You guys are just simply not going to want to miss this, and we're really going to need your support as well in the chat, cheering us on. There's also going to be equivalent tournaments taking place for the NA and the EU regions as well. And as I'm talking about this now and being able to talk about it for the first time publicly since being briefed by EA behind closed doors about it, it's a bit wild that I'll be doing this in a couple of weeks now. The time has truly flown by. But now that it is all public and it's all real, big thank you to all of you for all the support. It's what has allowed me to gain such an opportunity to be a team captain in such a format. So yeah, it really has meant the world, guys. This has truly been a home run of a year here with Battlefield 6 launching. But anyway, speaking of wild and keeping the movement of this video moving along, if you guys catch yourselves browsing, one of the many social media feeds for this game out there, you might have seen some pretty wild stats here that speak to just how monumental Battlefield 6's launch has actually been. Especially from a commercial perspective, but also from a market disruption perspective. Like, you all know that the game has been doing well, and while it isn't perfect, and there is very much a vocal minority out there that tries to convince you that this game is the worst in the franchise, Battlefield 6 has debuted as the best-selling game of 2025 to date, topping the storefront charts on PC and Xbox, and currently ranks second year-to-date on PlayStation, falling only short to NBA 2K26. Battlefield 6 has also produced the single highest single-month US physical and digital full-game tracked dollar sale total in 3 years, which is essentially a long-winded way of saying that this is the, highest-selling AAA full-priced game in a single month that we've had in the last 3 years. The last title to generate a larger full-game tracked dollar sales total in a single month was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in October 2022. And finally, and this is the kicker for me, Battlefield 6 is officially the best-selling entry in the franchise's history, with October 2025 sales count surpassing, and prepare for this number, guys, here, because it's quite frankly just ludicrous, surpassing the lifetime sales of the previous record holder in the franchise, Battlefield 1. And I just want to make the wording there abundantly clear here. Battlefield 6 has allegedly surpassed the lifetime sales of Battlefield 1 in just 1 month of its release. Lifetime sales of Battlefield 1. That is one of the craziest milestones I think I have ever seen in first-person shooter video gaming history. To come off the back of 2 incredibly ill-received games and produce that kind of result is honestly, and I must say this, a generational comeback. And especially given that Battlefield 1 1 was also an incredibly well-received game that was poised against a market competitor, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, that was also not posed to do very well. That is honestly an insane accomplishment for Battlefield 6. Like, you love or you hate the game, that is incredible for the franchise from a numbers perspective. And it kind of proves one big thing here. Battlefield 6 this time around has really managed to tap into not just the Battlefield audience, but also a lot of audiences who would otherwise normally be occupied by other first-person shooter games in the space. You know, the Halos, the CODs, so on and so forth. Battlefield's sales accomplishments here have taken a significant portion of the market share away from its competitors. And that's a really important thing for us as gamers here. You know, we all say that competition is good in the space because it continues to drive up the requirement for, you know, competitors to actually compete with each other, to, you know, try and do better than one another to steal that market share away. And this kind of result for Battlefield in particular is going to generate the kind of visceral competition among developers that requires them to simply be better to encourage people to come back to their product in kind. Call of Duty have clearly dropped the ball in a lot of ways this year based on what we're seeing online, which I'm also sure has had a really big effect on Battlefield sales this year as well. And to be quite frank, guys, if you are a Call of Duty enjoyer who kind of looks at Battlefield and this news snarling away going, how could this piece of shit ever be, you know, successful? It's not a good game, yada, yada, yada. Quite frankly, you Call of Duty faithful should be celebrating this news, because this is the exact news that is going to force your franchise to improve in response to what's happening over here to bring that market share back in favor of Call of Duty. And quite frankly, I celebrate that activity too. As someone who also enjoys the odd Call of Duty game, yeah, I want to see COD get better. I want to see it return to form, and I want to see it be the best it can be. It hasn't been that the last few years. Battlefield has really brought the competition back to the space with Battlefield 6, and while quite frankly, if Call of Duty swings back and does the same with its next release, whenever that may be, that's going to put the market pressure back on Battlefield, which means that they need to keep improving as well. So yeah, this kind of swing in market share and the kind of dominance that Battlefield 6 has at the moment with the records that it's quite frankly setting is very good news for us as gamers right now, because it's going to put the emphasis on competition back into the first-person shooter space. But it also proves that Battlefield's major line of effort to try and, you know, reel things back into what makes Battlefield Battlefield and to really give the community a game that they can enjoy again is having a monumental effect too. The game is far from perfect, don't get me wrong, guys. There's a bunch of issues with it, issues that I run into every single session that, yeah, take away from the fun of the session from time to time. But from a technical perspective, I still view this as one of the most polished and smoothest Battlefield experiences that we've had at launch in maybe the past 5 or so game releases. Like, don't get me wrong here, guys. Battlefield 3, 4, 1, they were all good games. Battlefield 5 and 2042 less so. Maybe we don't even need to talk about those guys. But those other better Battlefield games from, you know, the previous generation, they launched pretty terribly. There were issues galore with those ones. Battlefield games, they have a notoriously bad reputation for being pretty buggy and pretty rough on launch. This one, overall, has been pretty solid in my view. Yes, there's been issues. Yes, there's been balance bugs. Yes, there's been, you know, the infamous MR missile glitch, but those were small in the grand scheme of things. You could still launch the game and not have it crash to desktop every 5 minutes like it did in Battlefield 4's heyday. And from a gameplay perspective, the underlying foundation of Battlefield 6 is pretty solid, and the main issues here, they're pretty minor to fix. I really do believe that the underlying core is there, it's quite stable, and that is having a massive impact on us as gamers and our decision as to where we're going to spend our money this year. And that again is going to send a pretty massive message to the market as well. It sends a message that if you listen to what the lion's share of your community want and you test as exhaustively as you can and, you know, bring players on for the journey earlier, like what Battlefield did with Battlefield Labs, then you're likely going to get a stronger result when you launch your game. So love it or hate it, guys, Battlefield 6's launch here and the kind of results that it's generating for its community is nothing shy of actually really good news for us. And to loop back to the announcement that we sort of made at the start of the video here with Battlefield's announcement to launch this massive competitive league that is being backed in such a monumental way by EA and DICE directly, that also shows a degree of confidence and a degree of support I don't think we've necessarily seen from the Battlefield developers in the history of the franchise, quite frankly. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, in previous Battlefield games we've always had the promise of, you know, post-release support, post-release content updates, and the developers doing their best to make the game as good as they possibly can. for the long haul with every single Battlefield game. But that's to be expected, right guys? Because on one hand, it keeps players playing the game for the long run, and it also keeps a fresh injection of cash flow coming to the game because people keep buying DLCs, or they keep buying skins as the developers release new ones, so on, so forth. It makes monetary sense for the developers, or EA and DICE, to continue to support a game in that way. But with the competitive scene announcement that DICE have just made as of today, this is a different kind of backing. This doesn't necessarily translate to a direct cash flow back into Battlefield for them. I mean, it is likely going to spark a lot of interest from live streamers and competitive players to come play the game, which means that their audiences and their viewers might be more interested in the game as a result of that. But you're realistically talking here across all of the different RedSec leagues that are happening across the world, a 1.35 give or take $1 million investment into the Battlefield competitive scene. And that's not including, you know, the technical cost and all of the behind the scenes the devs have to do to make this happen for us. It is a massive vote of confidence in both the lifespan of Battlefield 6 as a game, but also in the community around it. It's an investment that shows that Battlefield 6 is a game that community members can invest themselves into, can get good at playing, and can become one of the best at doing so, and then potentially be rewarded for that skill. And we've not seen that in a Battlefield game for a very long time, if not ever. That is an exciting time to be alive, in my opinion. And while yes, it is a step away from what the traditional Battlefield experience is, I know I'm going to see a lot of people coming into the comment section here going that, well, Battlefield is traditionally not a competitive game, therefore this is a step away from what core Battlefield is meant to be. Why are we focusing attention on this? I wouldn't necessarily look at it this way, guys, because realistically speaking, a competitive scene is a really good thing for a lot of first-person shooter games out there. You may not like it, you may think it brings more sweats to your game, you may think that it unfairly deviates attention away from, you know, the developer's time and actually developing the core game. By the way, on that note, I'm going to promise you guys, the people who are working on, you know, the competitive league of Battlefield 6 here, they're not the ones working on, you know, Season 2, 3, and beyond when it comes to content for the core games. Let's just make that abundantly clear here as well. But no, having a competitive scene in a game like Battlefield, it gives players of higher skill ceilings a reason to stick around, which means that the game gains more exposure to a wider audience. It gains new potential players, people who want to play it casually, people who want to play it competitively. Both sides of that audience are a healthy injection to Battlefield 6. And once again, this massive showing of support from DICE and EA to make such an event occur, a precedence-setting event to occur for the Battlefield community here, is something that, in all honesty, I'm super excited for. As both a content creator and a player, it gives me the confidence in saying that this game is in it for the long haul, and hopefully we've got a really bright future ahead of us in relation to what Battlefield 6 will achieve in the future. But with that being said, guys, I'm starting to ramble a little bit here, so I will leave it there. In all honesty, I just kind of wanted to jump on and have a bit of a chin wag about all the things happening that are very exciting in the Battlefield space right now. For one, the commercial success of the game is a big deal, but the competitive scene and what's going on here with RedSec Elite, I can't even fathom it, guys. It's just truly unreal. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to backhand the like button, get subscribed so you don't miss out on the live streams of the upcoming RedSec Elite series. I cannot wait to show you guys what me and my team are doing in relation to practicing and coming forth and putting on a show for you guys. Make sure you get subscribed for that, or if you prefer to watch it over on Twitch, come follow us over on our Twitch channel there as well. But yeah, until next time, guys, peace out, happy Friday, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Take care.